Today on Pots and Trowels I'm going to show you how to prune a congested apple tree, and that's brought to you with the support of Cobra Garden and Allett. Hello, welcome to Pots and Trowels. Oh, what a cold day. Here we are, middle of winter now, but it's the ideal time to do pruning of fruit trees. Not all fruit trees, of course. We're looking at things like apple trees and pear trees, but we certainly don't start to prune cherries or plums or damsons at this time of the year. We do those in the summer, but in the winter, the dormant season is when we can tackle these. And what I'm going to do today is have a look at this apple tree here. This is a healthy apple tree that's probably 30 years old, and it's been pruned on a regular basis to keep a shape and to keep it compact. But because it's been what we call spur pruned by cutting the new growth back every year, we get lots and lots of twiggy growth like this, and it gets very congested and the fruit doesn't develop properly because the light can't get to it. It's more prone to diseases, and there's not enough air moving through there to prevent fungal diseases. So if you've got a tree like this, it's a good idea to do some pruning, not too drastic, because if we were to cut it really hard back, it wouldn't kill it, but it would just grow even more vigorous next year and we'd get no fruit. So I'm going to do a thinning, rejuvenating pruning job on it. So to do it, we need a pair of secateurs. So I've got my trusty secateurs there ready to go. If we've got branches that I can't cut with the secateurs, then I've got a pair of loppers here, and these are adjustable ones so I can get higher up into the tree without using ladders. If it's a tall tree, of course I'd get the step ladders. And I've got my little folding saw, which is absolutely brilliant at cutting branches sort of up to the thickness of my wrist. So what do we do with it? Well, first thing is stand back and have a look at it. Get the overall shape of the tree, and you can see this is quite a nice shaped tree here, but what we need to do is to thin it out. So I've got to visualize what it will look like by removing maybe a third of the branches from there, and then I'm going to thin out these clusters of spurs as well. And one of the first things you should always do, I'm just going to pop those on the floor, is look round it for any dead or diseased wood. For example, if we look here, some of the growth on this has got what we call canker. We can see it's sort of scabby like that. So we make sure that when we do the pruning, anything with these cankerous growths on is going to be pruned off. So anything that's dead or diseased in there. And then also, we also need to take out what we call water shoots. And water shoots occur when we prune back branches, and we can see these are water shoots. These are vertical shoots that have grown from where a branch has been pruned in the past, and they're going to go straight up through the middle of the tree. So we need to take any of those off. So I'm going to cut that whole branch off there. Now, of course, they will grow back again. It doesn't mean because we've cut them off that is the end of them forever. Next year they will grow. So it's something that we need to do next summer, is to come around and do a secondary prune. So where do I start? Well, I think I'm probably going to need my loppers to start with, because I think it's probably just a little bit thick for the secateurs. So what I'm going to do is to do a little bit of thinning out. So for example, up here where we've got all of these branches, I'm going to take a few of them out. Now it's going to be a bit awkward getting in to start with, but it's just a case of going in and thinning some of them out so I can get a little bit of daylight into the tree, and then we can start doing some of the pruning with the saw. So I'm just going to work my way around it, gradually pruning out, aiming to take any vertical ones out more than anything growing sideways, and then we can see what we're doing. It's a good example there where we've got one growing out flat and one going up. So I'm going to take that one off completely above it, because then the energy will go to the sideways one. So I'm trying to get it more of a flat open top with it. So I'm going to do that first, and then we'll come back to it and look about some bigger branches to take out. I've just trimmed a piece of dead wood off here that had canker, but I can see that it's gone down even further. So I'm going to now take this down a little bit further. So, because what we want is when we cut it out, we can see there the difference. We've got, this is diseased wood in the heart, this is nice and clean and healthy. So we always need to cut back into wood that looks like that. Right, so what I've done is I've gone round with the loppers and the secateurs, just more or less thinning, and I've got quite a nice pile starting to accumulate already of prunings. But what I need to do now, I've thinned it out a little bit around here. It looks so much more open. I still need to take a bit more off, but I've got these growths in the centre of the tree here, and I'm slightly concerned about them because there's a split in it. They're quite cankerous and they're just causing so much congestion in the top of the tree. So I think what I'm going to have to do is take some out, because the whole idea of a tree should be like a wine goblet, and this should all be open up here and empty. So I'm going to take out this one here, and I'm going to take this one off and possibly that one down to there, and then reassess it. It's going to make quite a big hole, but it will make the tree so much healthier as a result. Now I can't do that with my loppers, so what I'm going to do is to use my little hand saw like this, which is really sharp, and I can get in there and take some out. Now the secret is, of course, take it out a little at a time. You can always take a bit more out, but you can't put it back in. So it's going to be a bit drastic, but we'll have a go. Let's get something out and see. If it all goes horribly wrong, we'll blame somebody else. It's just a case of looking where they are. So I'm going to take that one out first, because that one is literally straight up the middle. So it's just a case of, these are really sharp and they work on the downward pull. So that's made a nice cut there. It's just then getting it out is going to be the problem. So I'll probably need my loppers to chop that into a couple of bits. That is one of the problems with a tree when it gets very congested, is you just physically can't get in to prune, and that in itself tells you that it's too thick for healthy growth. No, come on, out you come. Right, okay, so that's opened that up a little bit. I've actually just damaged one there, so I'm going to cut that off nice and clean. I still think I need to take some more of this off up here. I don't know, it's difficult. It's a case of walking round. Certainly this side we've got a big cankerous growth on there, so I think we're going to bite the bullet and we're going to take it out, and if it's wrong, hard luck. So oh yes, that's looking better already. And then this one here is also going to come out, so I'm going to have to sort of get in at a funny angle to get that one. Probably have to take it out and then tidy it up afterwards. Can't get in. Let's take it off up there first. Now we can see already by taking that out just how much more light there is now in the centre of that tree. I need to do a bit more cutting out. I'm going to take this one out completely with the split on it. There's quite a nasty split there, so I'm going to take that one out completely. That will drop through there, and then I don't want to take this one out down to there because it's supporting quite a lot of growth just here, and if I do I'm going to have a huge gap. So what I need to do is just to get my saw and cut that off so it's nice and level. So I'm just getting rid of this stump, cutting it not level, I'm cutting it on a slope so the water will run off. And I don't want it to tear, so just hold it carefully while you finish it off. These little saws are fantastic for this type of pruning. That's a nice clean cut there. So there's a log there, look, and we can see it's all rotten inside it, so we needed to get rid of that. We will get water shoots next year from where we've pruned these, so if you're cutting out branches from the centre of a tree, expect strong vertical shoots. But what we'll do, as I mentioned, we just cut those out in the summer with the secateurs. So already now that is looking so much better by taking that out. So I think what I'm going to do is just go round it with the secateurs now, and where we've got the spurs, where it's been pruned back over the years we can see it's been cut back every summer. These are still quite congested, so what I'm going to do is just go round and just thin these out a little bit. We can see the lichen is growing on them. That's a sign that there's not a lot of air movement between the plants, the branches, so it's just a case of thinning these overcrowded spurs out so there's a bit more airflow around them. So I'm just going to go around the whole of the tree, thinning these out, and then we won't be far off a tree that will grow much better next year. Right, well, I think that is about as much as I want to take out of this tree, because now you can see we've taken out that tall stem in the middle, and what it's done is exactly what I wanted. I've opened it up, so now inside here we've got a cavity, a space like the wine glass, so the air can flow. We've got then the branches out. We've tried to keep anything growing outwards. I've taken out the vertical growth. I've thinned out these congested stems. Having said that, the more you look at it, you keep finding bits. I've just realised there's a little bit of dead there that I've missed. Don't go mad. Don't cut everything now back hard, because what we've got here, we've got a more open framework of branches, but we've still got quite a lot of wood with fruiting buds on. These short spurs here with these fat buds on the end that we've got all over this tree, these will produce the blossom, and they will also have the fruit on next year. So I know that next year, although we're going to get quite a lot of new growth with this tree, we're also going to get some fruit, because we want to keep going with the fruit, and then we can just do a little bit of pruning next summer to thin out that new growth, and we've got a much better open shape. Finally, just before we go, I've actually got all of these that I want to prune over the winter time. I've got plenty of time. I'm going to do exactly the same with them. As you can see, they've got quite big. I'm going to thin them out. There's going to be a lot more saw work on these, but if you don't want to be getting up there with ladders, then these high reach, long reach telescopic tools are ideal, and with these you can really get right up there, high up into a tree. So these extend a long way. So I'm going to put that down because I don't need it to be that long for what I'm going to do, but they are really good, sharp blade on these, and it's just a case of getting them into where you want and then start sawing, and you can see that that saw just cuts through that really simply. If only the cameraman weren't standing in the way, I would be able to do it much easier. But they just get in the way. And there we go. And then you can use the hook on the end just to hook them out there. And that's made a really clean cut. So makes pruning much easier from the ground with these lightweight things. So that's it. As you can see, I've got loads and loads to be getting on with over the next few weeks, pruning the orchard and getting it all ready for next year. Thank you for watching Pots and Trowels. All I've got to do now is get rid of all these prunings. We'll be back next week, of course, doing more practical jobs in the garden, so we'll see you then. Bye.